everybody, it's Dr. Joe and Sweet Callie, and today I'm going to show you my top 3 stretches for hip pain. So let's get started.
Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert.
So the first stretch is going to be lying down. I'm going to do this on the couch. It's a little bit easier to do on your bed or the floor just to have a little bit more room, but I'll show you this on the couch. So it's going to be a wide leg trunk rotation. So a lot of times if you've seen some of my back videos, you do a trunk rotation with your legs together. This one, you're actually going to spread your feet out a little bit. So you want them to be past hip width apart, so they're a little bit separated. And the reason for that is because when you go into the rotation, you want your knee on this side to be able to drop down a little bit more. So I'm just rotating down this way. So you see there's a little more space than when they're together. And I'm getting a good stretch right through here. You want to make sure your shoulders stay down. So I'm not rolling all the way over or I'm missing out on that hip stretch there. And so with these stretches, you want to hold it for 30 seconds and then do that 3 times on each side. So when I come back up, my legs are still apart and then I'm rotating over. So you can see if you're on the couch, you might have to slide a little bit so you can get over with that rotation when you have those wide legs. If you're interested in following along in some real-time videos, I have a lot of real-time videos where I'm doing the full 30 seconds and doing them on each side for that whole time. And you can check a whole bunch of my real-time videos out up in that link up there. So then the next one, we're going to come back up into a seated position, and this is going to be a figure 4 stretch. So this is a great stretch for the hip, for the piriformis, and it's kind of like it sounds. It's a figure 4 because you're bringing your leg up into this position. And if you look down, it kind of looks like the number 4, so that's why it's a figure 4. Now, I know sometimes this is a tough position for people to get in, especially if you have hip pain. People say, I can't bring my leg all the way up. You can put your leg out and start off with your foot below your knee. That takes a little pressure off that hip, and if it's really tight, you're going to get some stretch. But eventually, you want to try and bring it up over that knee to get that stretch. Wherever you place your foot in that comfortable position, the key is to keep your back straight. A lot of times people will kind of hunch over like this and say, I don't feel much of a stretch, but that's because you have to move your hips to get that stretch. And when you slouch down, you're not moving your hips, you're bending your back. So keep your back straight and bend forward at your hips. So see, my back is staying straight and I just moved forward a little bit and I'm getting a really good stretch in that hip area, especially that piriformis muscle, kind of that muscle that you sit on the bottom area. So again, holding that stretch for 30 seconds. I like to alternate sides when I'm doing my stretches. You don't have to, you can do them all on one side and then switch sides if you want. But even if you have just hip pain on one side, I would stretch both sides because they're so closely related and some of those muscles cross at that pelvic area that stretching both sides is good. So remember, keep that back straight and leaning forward at your hips, not leaning forward at your back. So then the next one is going to be a seated hip flexor stretch or a psoas stretch. I like to kind of modify it doing it in a seated position. You can do this in a full lunge position where you're on the floor. But a lot of times if you have some knee issues or even with hip pain, if you're putting all your pressure on your knee, sometimes that can be really uncomfortable. So I like getting the pressure on either the couch or a chair or something, and then all that pressure doesn't end up on your knee when it's on the floor. So really all you're doing is you're sliding towards the opposite side you want to stretch. So I'm stretching the side that's on the floor. So if I want to stretch this right side, it's going downwards. Now the key for this one, you can place your foot up or down, up to you. Sometimes I alternate just depending on how comfortable it is. The key is to get a pelvic rotation. And so I know that's a little hard to see, so I'm going to try and over exaggerate. I'm rotating back into a posterior tilt of that pelvis. And what that does is that gets that hip flexor into a tightened position or in a stretch position. So sometimes even if you just do that tilt, I can already feel that stretch a little bit because that psoas muscle or those hip flexors come all the way up and attach to the spine. Getting yourself in that tilt is really what's going to get that stretch. Now, a lot of times people want to lean forward like that. You don't want to lean your whole body forward, but you can place your hands on your leg to get your rib cage up over. So you're not leaning forward like this, you're getting into this position as long as you get that rotation in that pelvis. So I'm going into that tilt, I'm placing my hands on my knee, and then if you need a little bit more of a stretch, kind of go forward just a little bit. And I'm getting a great stretch right through there. So again, holding that first 30 seconds, switching sides. Now this side is down, going into that rotation, hearing some pops, placing here, and then just kind of leaning forward a little bit. But as long as I'm getting that rotation, I'm getting a great stretch, and I don't have to go super far forward to get that stretch. So there you have it. Those were my top 3 stretches for hip pain. If you'd like to support my channel by becoming a paid member, click on the join button or click on the link in the description below. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.